Welcome back. Financial Issues. I'm Dan Celia. It's great to be here. 866-300-9298. That's our phone number if you want to weigh in. We're going to be taking calls again today, of course, all day, as we do every day here, as we take your calls and try to help you with your stewardship. The markets closed mixed yesterday. The Dow was down 44. The NASDAQ up 28 and S&P up 5. So, again, we're looking at a relatively mixed or negative leaning market here in January. It is expected to open down again today. So we'll have to wait and see what that looks like. But that's what we're looking for today as markets open. So we'll wait and see. There was some downgrading, some down news yesterday on IBM. That, again, we've got IBM, Advanced Micro Devices, a couple others, United Technologies, had some bad earnings reports. So all of that weighing on, we're seeing more, I think, by the end of the week. So what's today? Wednesday? Thursday? Wednesday. So I think by the end of the week, we'll see probably close to, if not over, 100 corporations that have seen negative earnings out of the S&P that are reported. So we're going to have to watch that closely. But that's what I talked about at the very beginning of the year. That's what I expected and said that, wrote about that in my newsletter, that is likely what we're going to see this year. It started with the banking sector and it's trickling in to other sectors. You know, there's only so many years you can manipulate your balance sheet, take free money, buy back your stock, shore up your balance sheet, all those kinds of things that have been going on here now in this false positive market that we've had for so many years before it starts catching up with you. At some point in time, when you look at the last 2 years, 12 and 13, where we have seen profits, earnings go up, yet sales not moving up, I don't know. Something's wrong with that picture, unless I'm the only one that thinks something's wrong with that picture. Apparently I was the only one for the last couple of years, but that's got to catch up with corporate America, and that is what is happening right now in the markets, apparently. So we'll wait and see, but, you know, it's looking like things are going to open negative right now. 866-300-9298. U.S. mortgage applications rose 4.7% yesterday. Those numbers came out, and the rates go up 4.7%. Not the rates. The rates of those applying for applications. That's good news based on the fact that it's been negative. We did see a bit of a tweak downward on 30-year mortgage. I don't know if that's helped or not. Refinances jumped 10%. So that's good news as well. So it looks like people are starting to think about, restructuring their debt. That's a 10% in the refinance. And of course, buying new homes. So there is some correlation to that and the housing numbers that'll be coming out tomorrow. So we'll watch that. Negative news. Most of the negative news coming out of Europe. There's some interesting news coming out of Canada. It's looking like Canada's good market. They managed to survive the 2008 crash relatively well. As a matter of fact, very well. A lot better than most of the European nations and a lot better than here in the United States. And it was a huge feather in the cap of Canadian industry. Well, that looks like that is turning the corner. That is changing. It looks like what we could be looking at in Canada is a lagging of everybody else. A very looks like they're headed into some troubles here this year. So we'll watch that. Is that going to have an impact on our economy? Some, but very little. But certainly having an impact on the dollar. Dollar tanked yesterday, but against the Canadian currency, it is still holding its own. So we'll have to wait and see. That's going to hurt the Canadian dollar, this bad news coming out of Canada, which will be good for ours. Freeport-McMoRan was one of those companies that reported yesterday. Freeport-McMoRan, I bring that up as one of those companies because that is one that has been on my list, has been on my buy list even I don't remember, frankly, but I know it was on my buy list last year. It is primarily a copper and a gold mining company. I did put a sell order out to all of those that are partners with me on their website for all mining stocks. I said, basically just get out. And if you own any mining stocks, get out. And that was several months ago, but nevertheless, they have seen their profits fall $707 million, or about 68 cents a share. So I expect that that's going to be relatively negative. I would not sell if you own. I would keep it. I wouldn't sell here only because someday, don't know when, but someday there's going to be a real recovery. When there's a real recovery, that is going to bode well for copper anyway. I can't speak about gold, but it's going to bode well for copper, and you're going to see Freeport-McMoRan starting to pick up again. But I would hang on to it maybe a little while, but don't know where you bought it. Freeport-McMoRan, when I put a buy order on it, was relatively low, so you might still be okay. We'll have to wait and see how it finishes by the end of the day today. 866-300-9298. Some of you watching Fox News yesterday, there has been, and I'm looking right now at a report coming out in reference to S&P. S&P, you may remember that S&P filed a countersuit. Now, you'll remember, this is why you listen to the program here at Financial Issues, folks. You will remember, at least I hope you will, that, and I know some of you will because I took so much heat about it, but Eric Halder filed a lawsuit against S&P, the ratings agency, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I went on a rant over that for a number of weeks as I continued to bring that up. Now, I got a lot of very heated emails, mostly from those leaning left, and I'm glad they still listen to the program. But saying that my description of the Justice Department as using Gestapo-like tactics was way off base. I didn't apologize, and as a matter of fact, I continued to use that statement. I said back then, you'll remember, that this is clearly a message being sent to all of the other ratings agencies. You dare even think about downgrading the United States government like S&P did, and you will be facing millions of dollars in your legal fees defending yourself from trumped up charges. I'm making the trumped up charges part up. The trumped up charges that we will be filing against you, because that's exactly what they did with S&P to teach them a lesson. Now, I was so far ahead of this story, at least 6 months, or longer than that, ahead of this story. No, I wasn't. What am I saying? I was a year and a half ahead of it. Nobody even talked about it until 5 months, 6 months ago. 6 months ago, or 8 months ago, I lose track of time, S&P filed a countersuit against the Justice Department saying that this was wrong, that they were doing this for those reasons I just stated. S&P admitted that. I talked about it, talked about the Gestapo-like tactics. I praised S&P for standing up for this and not just taking it sitting down, which the Justice Department fully expected. Now we're going through the discovery process of the case that the S&P has filed, and they're going through depositions. Now Fox News and everybody else is talking about this. I get tired of this. I get tired of reporting these things, talking about these things a year ahead of everybody else. Am I smart? Not even a little bit. I'm ahead of the curve because I'm the only one willing is the key word here, to talk about it, unless everybody else is just totally unable to read between the lines. It's something that is so obvious as the Gestapo-like tactics that this Justice Department, the Justice Department of the United States of America, engaging in threatening tactics to just make sure that Moody, Fitch, the others don't dare think about downgrading the full faith and credit of the United States of America. Instead of worrying about maintaining the full faith and credit of the United States of America, they won't have to worry about being downgraded. But the fact of the matter is, the other ratings agency just didn't have the guts to downgrade what deserved to be downgraded. And in fact, still deserves to be downgraded. Have any of these rating agencies looked at the balance sheet lately of the United States government? I don't think so. Because you can't establish two separate sets of standards as to why a General Electric or a Microsoft or whatever would be downgraded, or another sovereign nation be downgraded. You can't change the standards by which you measure your ratings for the United States government. Why should you? You lose all credibility when you do that. Not that the ratings agencies had much credibility to begin with. But now we're starting to hear reports, and I suspect all week long, and on the weekend talk shows even, you may start hearing talk about this. This is another abuse of power that I would suspect, I don't know this, I would suspect that the President of the United States, the Secretary of the Treasurer, and others went to Eric Holder and said, we got to nip this in the bud and make sure this never happens again. And he went to work. Now, for all of you who wrote me and criticized me on this, and some of you just criticized the word Gestapo-like that I used, and that's fine. Maybe that was a little over the top. I'm not going to stop using it because give me another analogy that's better then. But, kicking into full force these tactics in order to scare and threaten everybody else. If that's not an abuse of power, I don't know what is. Yet it continues to go on and on and on under this administration. It's unbelievable. And I get frustrated. Not that it's being, it's one thing that they're doing it, but I get frustrated that no one in mainstream media is willing to talk about this. Nobody. I get all these emails of people say, how do you manage to be so far ahead of the curve on whether it's a prediction on a stock or the markets or whatever it is? It's because I'm just paying attention when nobody else is willing to pay attention. When nobody has the nerve to dare read between the lines and make some sort of forecast and projection about what it really is or what it really stands for. 866-300-9298. We're going to get to the phones right after this. 866-300-9298. If you want to queue your call up, you got a financial question, a comment, give us a call, 866-300-9298. As soon as we get back from break, we'll go to the call. I'll be right back.